Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The title for today's video is My Hair Won't Grow, so stay tuned. Now, before getting into this video, I'm going to do a general hair health check. First and foremost, I'm just looking on the general movements and body of my hair, and then assessing my detangling to ensure that there's very little to no breakage as I detangle my hair with my wide tooth comb. I'm now going to assess my scalp health. Remember, scalp health is absolutely important when it comes to your general hair health. So what I'm doing here is partitioning my hair into small sections to assess my scalp entirely. At this point, I'm also evaluating my hair ends to ensure they're clean, and I'm also taking a look on the overall sheen of my hair, and these aspects are very important when it comes to overall hair health, and that's about it. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, I had a series recently entitled My Hair Won't Grow. And the aim of that series really was just to point out some of the main reasons why we sometimes believe that our hair just really isn't growing. My hair won't grow is one of the most common complaints that I've come across. At one point, I was in that same category. I was of the false belief that my hair was not growing because I felt as if it was the same length for a prolonged period of time. But I'm here to tell you this: unless you have an underlying medical condition, scalp condition, whatever it may be, that is inhibiting your hair from growing from your scalp, our hair is always growing. But sometimes we're just not able to appreciate the growth, and that is due to many factors. It is said that on average, our hair grows about 0.5 inches per month. And for some persons, that rate might be a lot slower, for some, it may be a lot faster. So you do have people on opposite ends of the spectrum, and you have the average in the middle of 0.5 inches per month. So why is it that it seems as if our hair is static, it's stagnant, it's just not moving beyond a certain point? The reason is because our hair may be breaking faster than or at the same rate at which it is growing. So if our hair is growing from the scalp and then along the hair strands we're having constant breakage, then what is happening is that breakage is going to cancel whatever growth is coming from the scalp. So it is not that our hair is not growing. What is happening is that we're not adequately retaining the length of hair that is growing from our scalp. So that's the problem. So now that we have identified the problem, we now have to find out why exactly our hair is breaking. And breakage can be due to so many different factors. And I'm going to be listing a few of those right now. The first one is excessive dryness. Now, if our hair is excessively dry, whether because we're not moisturizing it properly or we're not using a moisturizing deep conditioner on our wash days, what is going to happen is that anytime we comb our hair, anytime we brush our hair, it's just going to break. And at the end of the day, it's going to look as if our hair is not growing. But what is happening is it is just so dry that it is not able to sustain any kind of friction whatsoever. So that is the absolute first thing that we need to analyze. Is your hair dry? You need to know what your hair feels like dry, and you need to know what your hair feels like when it is well moisturized. And if it is lacking in moisture, then something needs to be stepped up. Whether it is your moisturizing technique, your moisturizing frequency, your frequency of using moisturizing deep conditioners, ensure that that excessive dryness is completely eliminated so you can start to retain your length by stopping that breakage. Now, the second and very common and popular reason why we may believe that our hair is not growing is due to the presence of split ends. And this is due to two reasons. One, split ends give an illusion of thinness. Well, not really an illusion. Split ends do cause our hair to become thin, right? And that thinness makes it look as if our hair really isn't growing. And number two, split ends cause our hair strands to tangle with each other, and each time we try to comb through our hair, that results in breakage because of all of these micro and macro tangles. So split ends, absolutely important. It is very important that as soon as you notice that your hair ends start to split, you can analyze this by putting your hair against a white background where you see your hair start to thin, or where you see that your hair is starting to become see-through. That could indicate that you have split ends, and it is best to get a trim because, as I've said on many videos before, these split ends are just going to continue along the hair strand, and it's going to cause your entire head of hair to become thin, start breaking, and you're going to start to lose your hair, and it's going to look as if your hair isn't growing, when what is happening is that once again you're just not retaining length. Now, the next reason why your hair may be breaking is due to mechanical wear and tear. Now, I know that some of us really like combing our hair, really like brushing our hair, but if we comb or brush our hair excessively, trust me, we're going to start having significant breakage, right? So only comb and brush your hair as needed. right? Our hair actually can't really handle the kind of dolly style combing and brushing, you know, like when you're a child and you're like combing and brushing through that dolly's hair. Or hair really can't stand that, especially if your hair is relaxed. It is a bit too fragile for that kind of treatment. So you only want to comb and brush your hair as necessary. The other thing when it comes to styling, styles absolutely lovely that we can do all sorts of styles, or relaxed hair or natural hair is so versatile. There's so much we can do with it, but just try not to overdo it, right? Because each time you put your hair in a style, you're manipulating your hair. Each time you change that style, you're manipulating your hair, and you're going to run the risk of breakage. And the other thing, these styles, we have to make sure they're not too tight, especially when it comes to your protective styles. Make sure they're not too heavy for your hair. Make sure they're not too tight for your hair. It's very important, because what happens is that all of these styles, based on the tightness, the weight, all of that, could just pull and tug on the hair, and it's going to cause our hair to break off. Now, the next and very important reason as to why our hair may be breaking is due to heat damage. So I said in prior videos that heat is not the enemy, heat is not bad. But what is bad is the inappropriate and incorrect use of heat. So if you're using heat on your hair every single day, and that is direct heat, especially with the curling iron, flat iron, or if you're using heat beyond a certain degree, it is said beyond 450 degrees Fahrenheit, could be potentially damaging to the hair. Or if you're using heat without the use of a heat protectant, all of these factors could result in heat damage. And when our hair becomes damaged by heat, what happens is that the bonds that are responsible for holding our hair together are damaged. And then our hair becomes very weak, because those bonds are responsible for the strength of our hair. So if we destroy those bonds, our hair becomes very weak, and any little tug, any little comb, any little brushing of the hair is going to result in breakage. So heat is potentially damaging and could result in breakage if not used correctly. Now, if your hair is relaxed, the next reason I want to discuss is overprocessing of the hair. When we relax our hair, we're not going to be relaxing the entire length of our hair each time, unless you're going to be getting a virgin relaxer, meaning it's the first time you're relaxing your hair. That is the only time the entire length of your hair should be relaxed. After that, it is only the new growth that should be relaxed. The relaxer should not touch any part of the hair aside from the new growth, because if it does and it overlaps with previously relaxed hair, what is going to be happening is that you're going to be over processing and reprocessing that hair over and over again, and then you're going to end up breaking more and more bonds, and that is going to cause your hair to become weaker and weaker, and that's going to cause thinning and breakage of the hair. So it is very important that you only relax a new growth. And the last thing that I want to discuss really quickly is poor detangling techniques. Now, some persons find it best to first use their fingers to detangle their hair before going in with a comb. But if you do eventually go in with the comb, it is very important that the teeth, the teeth spaces between your comb are wide enough to handle your hair. Because if the teeth spaces are too fine, what is going to happen is that it won't be able to accommodate your hair volume. And each time you carry that comb through your hair, you're going to end up breaking your hair. So you have the wide tooth comb. This is an absolute must, especially when your hair is wet and you're detangling your hair. You need to have your wide tooth comb to detangle. And you have your fine tooth comb. This should be avoided at all costs, except your roller setting your hair and you're parting your hair into very small sections, because this comb is only able to accommodate small volumes of hair. This should never be used to comb out the entire volume of hair. At any point in time, your hair is going to be sure to break if you do that. So it's very important that you choose the appropriately sized comb for your hair, and that you ensure that you detangle ideally from the ends to the roots, and you do it very slowly. You take your time. If you need to part your hair into small sections to detangle your hair, which is what I tend to do, then do that. Now that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I'm going to ask you once again, if you have not yet subscribed, remember to subscribe to this channel for more hair and health related content. See you next time. Bye.